Hello, this is Movie Reviews for Life, and I got a request to not do a review, but actually an opinion on a film that um, was supposed to be made but never went through, and something different had happened. Um, Rowdy Roughman is the name of his YouTube account, and he asked me to do an opinion on Batman Triumphant, which was originally supposed to follow Batman and Robin. While filming, Batman and Robin, Joel Schumacher wanted to do a serious Batman film because he noticed how toyish and cartoonish Batman and Robin ended up being, and he wanted to do Batman Triumphant as a way to kind of give us the kind of Batman who like the Dark Batman that Tim Burton gave us, and that was originally written. It was a script written by Mark Protosevich. Protosevich. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing. I'm reading this off of Wikipedia because I did hear about this film a while and I was actually interested in it. They were supposed to be released, in 1999, and it actually involved the Scarecrow, which is an element that was still, brought into Batman Begins, what would eventually be Batman Begins. But Jack Nicholson was actually supposed to reprise his role as the Joker, and as kind of a hallucination with Harley Quinn, which was adapted off of the Batman animated series. But she was going to appear as his daughter, which I don't know if that would have actually worked. George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell were already signed on to do the film in their respective roles, and Chris O'Donnell would be closer to being Nightwing. He would have more of the Nightwing attitude, of, I'm not Robin, I'm not some kid sidekick no more, and, I want to do everything, I want to do my own thing. Eventually, the studio decided to try and do a couple of films. Batman Beyond, which would have been a live adaptation of the DCAU cartoon series, and Batman Year One, which Joel Schumacher also wanted to have a hand in. They also tried to do another film called Batman Dark Knight, which would have taken place, I guess, like, whatever, after years of him being there, and Batman versus Superman. All except the Batman vs Superman had Scarecrow in it, and Batman Beyond. All except Batman Beyond and Batman vs Superman. All the other scripts had Scarecrow involved, so I guess that's an element they decided to keep in. My opinion on the film was, at the time, I was really interested in it, because obviously Jack Nicholson would have came back, even if it was just a hallucination. We would have gotten to see George Clooney act as a serious person, and having Nightwing on the series, at that time I didn't know about Nightwing. I didn't know that Robin would eventually grow up and become this Nightwing. I didn't find this out actually until the new Batman Adventures, because I wasn't a big comic book person growing up, but I would have enjoyed seeing it at the time. I am glad that they went along with Batman Begins, though, because they kind of were able to kind of retread, the familiar waters and make a whole new film series with it. We didn't have to stick with George Clooney, or whatever. So, I mean, we may be on Batman 7 by now, and no other films would have been any good, So, I am glad for Batman Begins. The Joel Schumacher was signed on to direct it for the longest time. They ended up, just passing on that. After passing on those, Batman Dark Knight, like I said, let's see. It's talking about how Batman Dark Knight would have been, had Jonathan Crane in it again, with Dick Grayson attending. Basically, all these films would have followed Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. It wouldn't have been starting it over or nothing. The Year One was a proposed reboot of the series, and all these kind of were passed. As we all know, eventually what would happen would have been, would have been Batman Begins and then Dark Knight. I did get to see Birds of Prey, which was a TV show made in, I think, 2004 or 2003. I know it was during the time when Batman Begins was ready to come out. And that had Mia Sara as Harley Quinn, and she played I think she just played a wonderful, a version of Harley Quinn. Like, definitely, she was much darker than the cartoon version, and it would be nice to see that character come back. You know what I mean? Mia Sara did a good job. Sherilyn Fenn actually played the character in the unaired pilot for the show, and she did a pretty decent job. But she, with the way they had her made up, she doesn't look too stable in the first place. But Mia Sara's character actually looked kind of just like a normal therapist. She didn't look like she'd be kind of any danger. But basically that's all I can really say about the film. It was something that was interesting at the time. I'm glad they didn't do it, only because Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were such a good reboot of the series, and we get a new person to play Batman. We didn't have to, rely on an aging person to come back. I would still be interested in seeing a Batman Beyond movie, a live action Batman Beyond movie. Batman vs. Superman, I don't know if that would translate well on film, because for one, you would first have to establish a series between Batman and Superman, which would have hints of connections. Like Superman Returns had a mention of Gotham City, but we don't hear nothing about Metropolis in Batman Begins with The Dark Knight. You would have to first establish a connection, like the Marvel comic films are doing right now. And you'd have to make sure both are equally successful, so that way you can believe that they would kind of interact within their same world. And it would be better translated as an animated movie, in my opinion. I would like to see the Tower of Babel made into like a cartoon movie as well, because obviously you would need to establish the Justice League and all them. I know it's going to take a few films, but Dark Victory would be a cool novel, to adapt, since it would be a continuation of The Long Halloween, which was what Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were partially based off of, which told the story of Dick Grayson. Obviously you would have to have a real kind of like athletic 12-year-old or 13-year-old to play the character if you want to do it right, But yeah, that's really about my opinion. There's not much more I can say. This is not a review, like I said. So, I would say go see Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, since those were the films that ended up coming out. And if one of us is listening, I don't know, maybe you can do something about it, doing kind of a adaptation of one of these proposed films. Just be easy with it, So, and I wouldn't mind giving my opinion on the picture that you're seeing. I actually got this off of I forget what the name of the site was. It's like Batman Movies Online or something like that. It's a really interesting cover. Obviously Jeff Goldblum would be a cool ass Scarecrow. I never thought of him as a Scarecrow, but the way they have him shown in the cover there, it looks awesome as hell. George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell was a great Robin. As bad as Batman and Robin was, we have to admit he was a good Robin. Much better than what Marlon Wayans would have been. He was paid to do Batman Returns as Robin, and he was given the money, but he never played the role, which I'm glad for, because he would have just tore that film up. But I actually really like the box. Like the cover that you see. Whoever made it was really impressive, and if they ever see this video, and they see that, please let me know if you made it, so that way I can give you your congrats on making that photo. So I guess I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.